What's going on, gang? I have been away for a little while. I'm trying to work on a few different things, different ways of doing things. So we're going to start with this video, which is going to be dramatically different from previous videos. This is going to kind of go over the evolution of my rigging. I'm going to show you where I was at the end of the last year, the beginning of this year, basically going through the month of January. The main thing I wanted to show off that was because my January sketchbook will be flipping over to public in the next few days, which means my February sketchbook will be ready in a few days for my Patreon subscribers. Once you see that video, I think you'll see how much work I'm actually putting into these videos as well. That's kind of where my attention has been focused. Drawing in my sketchbook every day hasn't changed. Doing it for the second year in a row. I'm really enjoying how it's turning out. I am recording just about every day. You'll see from that video of my sketchbook that I will be showing off the main photos that I sketched. It'll have the reference up in this corner, and then down in this corner it'll actually be running through quick time lapses of what I was drawing. Let's get into it. First and foremost, I have finally almost finished issue 8. The coloring is done. Preview pages. Let me show you the preview pages. I apologize for the skewed view, but this is basically the preview pages for the start of issue 9. These are going to be the preview pages for the next issue. If you're interested in seeing how these are going to look, I'm going to be doing a process video on my Patreon, basically running down, showing you why I decided to do these. That's cover for issue 9. These are going to be bordered by a Sharpie marker, kind of outlined by colored pencils. I won't go in and do my Copic markers, but those are basically the preview pages that I'm going to be putting into the book, so look forward to those. So the preview pages are done, but that's not the important part. If you pledged my Kickstarter, you'll have to pick one of 2 covers. This one being the variant cover, number 8, down here at the bottom, or the regular cover with I Never Forgot down at the bottom, 8 at the top. It will also have the comic tag that I put in all of them. These are hand painted by me. I'm still considering about a way to get a hold of these covers after all this whole project is done, but that's neither here nor there. The back cover, obviously, with the rose bush, Donnie coming on the ground, but the most important thing is this painting. With every Kickstarter I've done, if you've gotten physical rewards, you've been asked if you wanted a shot at one of my actual hand-painted paintings that I put in the book as well for a thank you painting. This is issue 8. You'll see the importance of this later when you actually read the story, but my question to you, Kickstarter backers, if you're watching this on YouTube, I will include this into this longer video, but this should be clipped out for Kickstarter backers as well. Surveys are about to go out. There will be a question if you want a shot at the original painting. A way for me to say thanks for helping me keep these projects going. There will be one for issue 9. I'm not going to be doing an issue 9 Kickstarter because that will be just going out to everybody that backed number 8. But issue 9's painting will be thrown in with issue 10 and the second trade Kickstarter. So if you're looking forward to getting one of those, pledge for that Kickstarter. Say that you want one of those shots at that paintings, but I've already given away 7. Here's a picture of the previous 7 paintings that I've given away. And here's another clip of Jan, who actually got the 7th painting, which would have been the last issue's painting.
All right, you crazy man. Thank you so much for getting this package out. Finally, after all these months. This is truly insane. First of all, the comics, the prints are amazing. I just want to say, like I love that the little back. The colors are like, especially on this one, it virtually, with the painting, this looks like an original piece of art itself. The colors are amazing on this one. The pin is super cute. Package, and you gave me my own stack of my own comics. That's insane. Like, I have no words to say how this feels to hold this in my hands and to just have read my own comic book and be like, not just like, okay, I gotta do this better. But like, wow, what a feeling. Thanks for giving that to me. Thank you very much. And now back to the six issues, repainting pages 5 and 6. I'm almost there. I'm this close. And then I can get into reading and I'll let you know what I think. So thanks again. We'll talk soon.
So with all that being said, if you have previously won before, you will not be able to win again. I appreciate and thank you for backing, but I mean, let's spread the wealth and get these paintings to many people that have helped do the Kickstarter thing. So, once again, on the survey, there'll be a question asking if you want to win this painting, this exact painting. I will sign it on the back, give you the date. I will even tape the piece of paper that I draw out after I get all the surveys in. Very important, you'll have until I get the proof back of issue 8 to actually decide if you want to win that painting. It should only take me a couple weeks. I am going dark on social media for a week so I can just concentrate on finishing it up. I've got the sketchbook basically to do. I'm doing the preview pages of the next issue very roughly because I'm not sure if they'll stay like that. Because when I did the preview pages for 7, they were rushed. A few things changed. When you get issue 8, you'll see those changes. But I don't want to promise that the pages will look exactly like this. Some details will change, but this will be the overall feel of those preview pages. So I wanted to do them rough. With that being said, sketchbook pages should take this week. Doing final details, getting everything scanned in, shipped off so I can get the proof done. Once I get the proof in hand, I will send out another email verifying the people that wanted to win this painting, do a drawing, and then whoever wins, wins. This is only available for people who are getting physical rewards, because if you got digital rewards, I'm not going to be mailing you a package, so putting an extra package in the mail. And plus, this works as giving the issue more support, so it's less likely to get damaged. So, something to consider if you're considering backing up another of my Kickstarters down the road. So, with all that entailed, surveys should be going out this week. I will get those out to you guys, show you little details. I hope you liked me showing off some of the preview pages, how I'm doing those this time around. So with that being said, thank you for the support, and let's get into a couple more things. So, going all the way back to December, I'm sure you remember these very ugly videos. I was just testing out my rigging through December, getting a feel for it, trying to figure out what was working best. This is my friend Jody. I met her at a concert. We've been concert-going friends since then. I really like how this first one turned out. The other pictures turned out good too. This is primarily focusing on this first initial sketch I did on this page. But you can see how the camera rigging is not ideal. You have this fisheye look to it. Obviously, the camera goes 170 degrees, so it's not something I love, but at the same time, it is the best setup I have right now for recording myself drawing. I believe this sketch probably took me 10 minutes to sped up, I don't know, probably 4 times as fast. But really enjoying this rigging. But there's things that I can do to tweak it, make it look better. Obviously, I need to get it much more overhead. I need to drown out the background, and you've seen me, if you've seen any of the videos from, these last 2 months, that I have very much made this look a lot better. So, from that to this, this is a tour of the evolution of my rigging. This was just plain overhead shot downwards on my sketchbook as I worked, and we'll show you more in a bit. Guys. That's right. The horror issue 2 is finally here. It's incredible. I know that Gaz is my friend. Here, check this out. Oh. Right up here, King Kong and Godzilla fight it out over my bed while I sleep. So when I look up and get a little inspiration from them when I'm working as well, figured Gaz would dig that, seeing that they're actually up on my wall and I can see them all the time. But getting back to the horror, this series is something incredible. When I read the first issue, I don't know, I think I probably read through it way too quickly. I was way too excited, but I didn't catch a lot of the nuances that were with it. And then going back when I got the second issue, I reread the first one, and a lot of the motivation stuck and worked so well for me. With the second issue, it expands on everything Gaz has set up already. I'm super looking forward to the third issue. I know he's already started on rough, so I'm not going to harass him. But if he happens to watch this little mini review, I hope he kicks it into gear, because I'm really looking forward to that third issue already. A lot of things have happened. We see Boots continue her journey, discussing with friends, Dan at the bar, this old folks home, putting some time working with the community and whatnot. All this motivation, like, I'm excited to see where it goes. Like, I don't think I was anticipating the level the art has gotten better with the second issue. Obviously, he spent a great deal of time working with it. It's amazing how much actual detail he gets in every single panel. I literally went from it to working back on my comic, and I was like, I need to figure out a way to siphon all of that detail into my work. But I think I'm still a few years off from being at Gaz's level. But if you haven't checked this out, highly suggest it. I will throw a link down below. Gaz's channel. Make sure you're following him. Make sure you check out his Etsy store. Pick this up. Pick up some sketches. Support his art, because he is doing incredible things. So just wanted to give him a shout out, because his second issue is dope. As you can see, starting off the new year with a new sketchbook, and the paper is pure white, but for some reason I just couldn't make it look like that. It has this dirty look. I've gotten the camera more squared overhead. I've actually laid down a black drop cloth to give me something so it focuses on the paper, but it still wasn't showing up that clean white that I was hoping for. So just a pain in the neck. So I ended the year and started the year with the same friend. This is Chelsea. I believe I've spoken about her in a previous video. She's going to be one of the people that I use to gauge my growth in art this year. This is actually a picture from New Year's Eve, her and her husband. I decided that not only would I sketch them in my sketchbook, but I wanted to do something special too and to kick off New Year's right. They've always had this fascination with Sally and Jack from Nightmare Before Christmas, and I thought for a little something special, I would do that. Draw them as those two as well. Just really cool people that I've met along this way. I had so much fun just doing this quick sketch. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. Hoping to do them for birthdays and whatnot, but for the most part, just knocking these out, getting like the feel for a character and the person's personality, and working from there. So, this is the next evolution, working on building that rig just a little bit better and better. So, Valentine's Day, middle of February, spent some time by myself thinking of some new things. Met up with a friend for some drinks. It was on a Wednesday, so it just happened to fall when I can go make it back to my old city that I used to live in, meet up with friends for drinks, and then check out the late showing of The Greatest Showman. That's right, I've seen it 4 times in theaters. I want to see it one more time. I don't think that's possible, but I'm really crossing my fingers that I get to see it at least once more, even though I think it's coming out on like Blu-ray in like maybe a couple weeks. But Valentine's Day was amazing because just sharing these couple drinks with this friend. He's not one that reads, but he has been supporting my Kickstarters. He has been reading through this, spinning theories, trying to figure out what's happening, where it's going. I'm excited to get issue 8 into his hand because I'm excited to see how he sees the world expanding on itself as well. It was incredibly humbling for him to tell me that he's not a reader, but he is damn for sure going to make sure that he reads every issue of mine. I believe he watches my YouTube videos as well. I've done paintings for him in the past. Such a cool dude. I was also happy to meet up with him on Valentine's Day because I had a gift that a friend had commissioned me to do a sketch for him over Christmas. Got that to him. It's a little inside joke between about 4 of us friends. Came together really awesome, and he was blown away by it when he actually saw it and held it. I also had to grab my Berserk series from him, which means he's digging all the same stories that I'm throwing down. So I think he can see where I'm getting my inspirations from. We even talked on Twitter about a band that I quite thoroughly enjoy called Finger 11. If you haven't checked out their Grayest of Blue Skies CD, I owe a debt of gratitude to that CD for helping me get through high school. There were a lot of low points, and this CD is very melancholy rich, where it doesn't try to speak to you on a level where like you need to get help, you need to figure out how you're feeling, discuss all this stuff. It's more of a, yeah, sometimes life sucks and you just need to survive to the next day because things will get better. But things aren't all that bad as you may think they are right now. There's some really, like I say melancholy, but really like this is the epitome of melancholy. Like it's so rich because it allows itself just to be with you in these times that you may be down on yourself, maybe down on your life, but It turns out incredible. If you haven't checked it out, check out Finger 11, Grayest of Blue Skies for sure. That CD is incredible. Here we go. Now we're on to something a little bit better. This is about a week into January. If you saw, I think I posted in a previous video where I actually did my portrait of me when I was holding my ego, but this was the first day. I had gotten a clamp lamp to put right next to my little GoPro and shining right on my sketchbook, brightening up that page, making it look surreal, bringing it to life for the most part. I really like how this look. The only problem now I have is that it's kind of awkward to watch from the side, I guess. So I tried remedying this. You saw it through December, where I would post the finished drawing next to it, but considering I'm shooting straight parallel with it, it doesn't work as well as it was back in December in the likes, because those were at an angle and this not so much. The parallel next to it is now giving me problems, because if I turn it on its side, it will cut off some of the sketchbook, and I am just not ready to do that. But I do love how this drawing turned out. Using red primarily for the month of January, but I also go back to blue and use it for the highlights for this hand drawing. I really love how this turned out, and looking forward to doing even more hands this year, and working very much so on getting the proportions and shadows and everything like that right. So stay tuned and you'll see how I fixed this next thing. And look at that background. It's stunning because that black backdrop just illuminates that page even more. Working on issue 8 has been such a joy. I think getting the sketchbook for last year together is coming together. Not only so I have something else to on my table, but I will also have something for people that might not be interested in the comic series, along with the anthology that we just wrapped up at the beginning of February. Like, I'm so stoked to do cons this year, because I'm hoping to have plenty more to offer everyone. I am waiting on JoJo's Revenge of Ultron pages. I also have to do a sketch for her to put in the back of this little mini comic. She's redoing those pages especially for this last Kickstarter campaign, so the pages are turning out really well. I'm loving her new style, her new coloring, the way she's doing it. Everything about it looks incredibly epic, so check that out. And let's get back to some more of my sketches from January. As you can see, I have grown even exponentially more. This is what I've decided to do with this. These are the sketches, the time lapses I was telling you about previously in this video, to do with January's sketchbook. I have all these super sped up. I didn't record every day, but for the most part I got a lot of January, and you can see those flying by as I'm flipping through the sketchbook and showing everything that I drew. I believe this is about a week in. I did this pinup. Really happy with how it turned out. I got this face just right. Just shows my proportions and facial features are turning out way better than I could have ever dreamed. So it about halfway through January, I actually started to pick up some speed and threw caution to the wind, so to speak. I'm not taking quite as much time. I'm not worrying about getting such details done. I did do this video of Jessica Negri. I think this is probably the best I've ever sketched her. You'll see her face that I did. I'm really proud of up here in the corner in a second. But yeah, I'm really enjoying looking at it this way because even if you don't care about what I'm drawing right now, you still have two other things you can look at. I'm working at grouping them together, figuring out what works, what doesn't. This is the face I was telling you about. Really happy how that turned out. Really looks like Negri. Just super happy with how that turned out. And then finally, we have this Camaro sitting in this farm, this barn. Yeah, like I said, I think I'm really happy with the rig adjustments that I've done. The black background makes it easier to square up everything. Trying to eliminate that fisheye look as much as possible. But, you know, there's only so much I can do. Hope you're enjoying this. Hope you check out January Sketchbook. That should be up in a few days. Like I said, Patreon. You can see February's even earlier, and I hope you do so because it's going to be a lot of fun. Had a ton of fun doing January Sketchbook. I'm just loving everything I'm learning still, so check that out. Check out these. There should be another couple videos of me going through all these sketches a little bit more in depth, but for now, I'll leave you with that. So the main title, the reason I made this longer version video is because I wanted to discuss something very near and dear to me. As you've seen from the title of this video, getting started on working on your own stories is the hardest step you will ever take. There's planning, there's doing anything, but at some point you're going to have to make the conscious decision to actually begin. I've seen a lot of professionals give their opinion. The Artcasters talk about this every other week. It comes up in topics about starting on their projects. I know Joshua Kimball has talked about starting. When he started, he did his Magnum Opus and got it out of the way, and he probably won't ever publish. I would love to see his Magnum Opus because the stuff he's doing right now, I'll give him a quick plug. I'll throw his link to his channel down below, but he's currently doing 100 Days of Making Comics, as well as Marshall Couture. Chris McKinley is back. And then, of course, Jan. If you are not watching Jan do his 100 Days of Making Comics, he's working on Phosphor again. The pencils he is doing right now are incredible. I'm so looking forward to this story. I printed his issue 0 for my last Kickstarter. 2 Kickstarters ago, actually. But it's incredible. He's taking stuff from that, reworking it, expanding on this story, putting it into issue form. I think he just hit the first issue 22 pages the other day, and it looks nothing like issue 1 or issue 0 did. He's expanded this world so much. There's so many characters. There's so much happening. He says it's boring. I can't get enough of it because he's showing this world that he keeps talking about, and I want to know more. I want to see more. I want him to get in inks. I want him to get in down. I want him to get to grayscale. I want him to put it in a comic so I can hold it with my hands. But this brings us back to the topic. If you're thinking about starting in comics, what should you do? I've heard a lot of pros say that you should start with 8 pages. Start with 8 pages in a row. Sequential. That's the word I'm looking for. You should start with 8 sequential pages. Make a story with those. A lot of like what we did with the anthology. We did 6 pages. It's pretty hard to write a story that encapsulates a beginning, middle, and end. I'm looking forward to the anthology to see what other people came up with, but it challenged you in different ways. Why this topic is so near and dear to me is because when I started, I knew I was looking at a 13 issue project. I am now 3 years into it. I am finishing up my 8th issue. We are across the halfway mark. It will still take me 2 years to finish up this 13 issue project, but like, I don't agree with them saying they should start small. I think if you have a story you want to tell, no matter how big, how small, you need to start. You need to start creating. The world needs plenty of stories. The world will be better with your story in it. So you need to make it happen. If that's a short story, if that's a long story, just start making it. I know plenty of webcomic people that put out page by page, and that works for them. I think the easiest way is to find how it works by doing. Um, One of the biggest tips that I've ever gotten was done is better than good. And I live by that because with every issue, my art's getting better. Um, my dialogue's getting better. My action sequences are getting better. They're not to where I want them to be, but they are better from where I started. But those first issues are rough. I started on a notebook going to copier paper from my printer. Um, they're rough for sure, but had I not ever started, I would have never been right here, right now. I would not have a story in an anthology published with Kevin Cross, who helped me jump into this whole project. Um, he's doing his 5th run of 100 days exclusively on Patreon. I will link down below. He is giving incredible tips. He does a lot of his stuff digital. I wish I did digital so I could take on all these tips, but he's still, the advice he's giving isn't just held within digital artists. There's a lot of good stuff that can be transmitted into working traditionally as well. Just a few videos back, he was working on coloring a scene, and he showed how he transitioned colors to make scenes separate but feel like they were in the same, taking place in the same place. He has a lot of great advice. Follow him on Patreon. Throw a couple bucks his way. Make him work even harder and do even more days for his 100-day challenge. But with all that being said, I think getting your work out there, creating something, is the first step. Start however little or big you can think you can accomplish. Because I'll be frank with you, when I started that first issue, I had no idea the amount of work it took to get that first issue done. Even working on your Magnum Opus. I haven't started on my Magnum Opus. This story is something I wanted to get out first so I could get my skills built up. My next issue, or my next series, probably isn't going to be my Magnum Opus either. I think I'm probably going to be working with a friend, which I'll tease you a little bit. I'll probably be working on that for 100 days. After a few of these 100 guys wrap up, I'll be kicking off my third 100-day run, working on a completely separate project so I can set just 30 minutes a day working on that, see how far I can get with that first issue as well. So that's something to look forward to. But I think the bigger part is just getting started. You never know how much work is into it until you get started. I think the 100 days challenge is something incredible for figuring that out. Because putting in 100 days, 30 minutes a day, builds those habits that you need to sustain this kind of activity. I know a lot of people are doing the 100 days have side jobs and they can literally only put 30 minutes a day in. And the stuff that they're creating and doing is incredible. So yeah, shout out to all you guys. If you are doing a 100-day run, I didn't throw you a shout out. Throw me a link down below, or throw a comment down below. I'll check out your channel, give you a head nod with my next video, which should be in a couple weeks. I think I'm going to do these long form videos once every couple weeks, changing the angle that I'm working on this channel just because with everybody doing their daily 100-day videos, there's a lot to watch. And I think if this could give them something to watch for 30-40 minutes while they work a day, that's better than the 10-minute videos I was trying to hit every couple times every week. And hopefully this is something they'll enjoy. So yeah, just get to work on your project. Let me know what you're working on. Let's build a community of great people like we have been doing with this 100-day challenge. If you're digging all the sketches that I'm doing in my sketchbook, they are incredible. I'm fantastic. You should support me on Patreon. I have 2 different levels. Tier 1 will get you access to early videos. I do one video where I show off my process, how I work on different projects and whatnot, writing, drawing, anything that I fancy. I do one of those videos, Patreon exclusive, and then you'll get access to the monthly sketchbook a month early before I put it live on YouTube, which, when you see January's video, you'll see how much work's going into them, and I hope you help me support. But there's a $5 tier as well, which I will actually dissect my sketchbook, take actual pages that I've drawn, and send them to you for every 3 months that you support me at the $5 level. So that's going to do it for me. Hope you're all doing well. Hope your projects are going awesome. And we'll check you out on the flip side. Peace.